So here we are in a nice, dry, covered over garden centre at Boyles, and Trish has joined me here, Trish, and you have got some fabulous colour.
I have, you know me now, Alan, there's colour every time of the year.
Always lots of colour. Anyway, you're keeping well?
I am very well,
dry.
Yes. Dry. As you say, we're under cover here, so we've had some rain and some wind and some thunderstorms and lightning.
There has loads and loads of stuff. So it's been a rough week.
It has, yeah.
But you have come possibly to the rescue, because you were talking just a few minutes ago before we started here that there was a couple of people coming into the garden centre saying their summer bedding pots, their beds, they got a little bit of a battering and they don't know what to do. So you've come with some possible solutions.
I have indeed. Now, like as you were saying, there was customers in yesterday and even this morning they were saying their pots with the petunias in it, the marigolds, lobelia, looking absolutely shocking at the moment. So what I said to them is that, you know, if they're not too bad, what you can actually do is deadhead them, maybe cut them back a tiny little bit, feed them with the tomato food, see if you can get a couple of weeks out of them. But if you're in a kind of a windy spot, I know myself, I had window boxes out in the front, I had to throw them away at the weekend. They were just completely gone. The wind knocked one or two of them off the window, and then the rain just melted the petunias inside in it. So the best thing you can do is just chuck them out.
And then, so there's not even a case of like even just trying to dry some of them out. So if they've taken a bit of a battering, you're deadheading them.
Yeah.
Would you put them into maybe a dry spot for a day or two, maybe to kind of help them?
It is, but the only thing is that the weather is the way it is now at the moment. You know, you're not going to get a heat wave for 2 weeks or anything like that. As I say, if they're not too bad, just to deadhead them, tidy them up a bit, give them a feed, see will they come back that little bit.
But what we've got here now is replacement colour.
Exactly.
Late flowering colour, and there really is a fantastic array here on the table. So let's take us through a few
now
options.
Like these now, the colour that I have here in front of us, if people are looking on Facebook or YouTube, is that it's the autumn spring colouring. So these will last you right out until next year, up until February,
March. All over the winter and everything.
All over the winter.
Brilliant.
So, you know, you get so used to your pots over the summertime and the colour. When you do take them down, it's like it's so bare.
It's like leaves a hole, like you just, there's something missing. You're walking up to the house and all of a sudden you're like, there's just something missing.
Something missing. So we have that. So even if you have your window boxes, or we're going to do up a pot now later on as well, there's plenty of colour. Now what I have here in front of me is the chrysanthemums. Now they're fantastic for this time of the year. They'll flower great. They come in the oranges, the whites, the yellows. We have them in reds and pinks as well. As you can see by that, there's loads of flower on it, and there's also loads of buds on it.
It's beautiful,
So as you can imagine, as that gets bigger, it'll just be full of colour, and that lasts from year to year. Not like the summer bedding plants, majority of them, they just last for the summer. But all of these, the autumn winter ones, they'll come every year for you.
So and even when is it always August?
Always, August up until early spring is when they flower. When they're finished flowering, then just plant them out in the garden somewhere, they'll flower again next year for you. So like that, if you were doing your window box, what I would use for a centerpiece would be something like the chrysanthemum. So just to get your colours right, it's like as we do in the summertime as well, just to match up your colours right. So if you were to put that in the middle, which is your white chrysanthemum, you could maybe get the cyclamen then, which is a lovely red cyclamen on either side of it. And then if you wanted a bit of trailing to go down the front of it. Now,
ivy.
I know with the summertime you have loads of selection of trailing, but in the wintertime you don't. So your ivy is probably your best bet. It's a lovely evergreen, and it's going to be there for the whole winter. No leaves are going to fall off it or anything. And they just offset each other. There's different types of variegation. There's another lovely one there as well. It's a lighter colour.
That's actually two, because that's the usual variegated leaf here. And this is very, it's like
mottled.
What's it called?
No, it's just a mottled leaf, what I would call it.
Mottled, I've never heard that one before now, Trish.
That's a new word.
It's always good.
New for the English language.
It's like a splash of something. It's like something splashed on it,
And then you also have the green.
Straight
so
leaf,
no matter what colour, even if you had the red one, that lighter colour would go lovely with that. Again, another thing then, if you wanted it as a centerpiece, if you had something a bit higher, maybe a pot, you could put a cordyline in the middle of it. And again, that stays that colour, and you can put your bedding plants around it.
Now I have a pretty big one over here now as well too. This would be, would this be another centerpiece?
That would be another centerpiece, and it's called an Aster, and that's fabulous. So if you had a big pot, and again, you can see yourself there, Alan.
I was just about to ask, are every single one of those buds?
They're all buds.
My God.
And they have to open,
They are, this plant is literally all bud and no leaf. Like there's the green, very, very small, tiny leaves along the stem, but it is just bursting with balls of colour.
Yeah.
So this is an unreal one.
So that's
an Aster.
fabulous. So that's
beautiful
an Aster.
Purple as well,
and again,
too.
that comes every year. You know, don't throw it away when it's finished.
Yeah.
And you can underplant that, like even if you had the pansies underneath it.
That'd be
you know,
lovely.
the white with the purple blotch, or even the yellow, because there's a yellow centre to the Aster as well, and the yellow in the pansy then will bring it up. So they'd be fabulous.
Stunning.
And also as well, another favourite for the centre of a pot is your hebe. You have that all year round. We talk about it a lot, but they're fantastic for pots. Like if you had that in a grey pot, immediately it just shines up. Now what I always say in the winter time is to get bright coloured leaves, because it's dark, it's dull, and you just want to liven up a spot. So anything with a nice variegation, even you see the cordyline now there as well, it's green with cream in it. Even the Aster, it's bright. Like anything like that would be lovely.
Stunning.
And then of course you have the heathers. Now we have a great selection of heathers. These are called trio heathers.
That's a trio of heathers, because you can see the three colours coming through. There's a purple, a pink and a white.
So if you couldn't decide, do I need a white one or a pink one, they're all in the one, Ellen. So they'd be fabulous.
Would you use that as a centre again, or would that be a round?
I would use it as a centre, and in the window box, what you could do is you'd have your chrysanthemum in the middle, you could have a header on one side, a header on the other, and a cyclamen in front of it.
Oh, beautiful.
And you'd have, now with the winter boxes, you actually plant them close together because you want instant effect.
Okay.
So whereas in the summer you were given a bit of space because all the plants had to grow.
Yeah.
So with a winter box, that's not going to grow much in the winter because the growth has stopped.
And that's what I was actually going to ask. So the plants won't really grow much. They're literally just
they are what they are now, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Now the pansies will get bigger. They will come out a bit bigger. But anything like a heather or the chrysanthemums, they more or less stay the same. So if you had your chrysanthemum, I would be planting your heather right beside it.
And of course we also have these ones over here, which are the painted heathers, which are always very popular around this time of year.
They've become very popular over the last couple of years, and people are going to me, they look at me with two heads going, what do you mean painted?
Painted, I know, it's like when you get out the brush, but they're sprayed.
They're spray painted. Now the spray paint will last up until next summer, right? And then after that, the heather still stays alive, but it comes out with the pink flower eventually.
Oh, with a pink flower?
With a pink flower.
All of them is the same, is it?
Yes, all of them are the same. So they'll just go back to their original heather again.
Wow, beautiful.
And then you have the cabbages.
The old fake cabbages.
Yes, no, not the eating cabbage, Alan, you can't go out and have it for the dinner.
Yeah.
But this is the ornamental cabbage. You have them in the purple and you have them in the white then as well.
Green,
and they're lovely, and they're just give another variation of a different colour.
And like the height as well.
The height,
play,
like
you know what I mean?
over the springtime, they'll actually bolt like ordinary cabbage. They'll just go up in the air, produce a flower, you chuck them out then.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But when you're planting these as well, the cabbages, kind of plant them at an angle. Because if you plant them straight up, what happens is that the rain just lodges into the leaves of it, and it actually rots it. So if you kind of plant it at an angle, the rain will just fall off it, and it'll help it. It'll survive it that bit longer.
And we've got these little small little, they look like small little kind of...
They're small little conifers.
Conifers,
So if you've got a small little pot, or a lot of people would put pots on the graves for the winter time, and you just want something as a little centrepiece, these are ideal. Again, they're not going to grow high. The one you have in your hand. Dark green. And you could, like, even if you had the red cyclamens around that, sure, it livens it up straight away, and a little bit of ivy.
And the light green is good as well too. Right, so let's get to this pot, because you're going to give us a little bit of a demonstration.
I am.
That would be a fairly average size pot.
An average size pot that you might put outside your door. You know, usually you have a step going into the door, you could put one of these on either side. Now if you're putting one on either side, I'd recommend doing both of them the same so that they match. Now the first thing is very important, is that you get your pot from your garden centre or wherever. Make sure there's holes in the base of it. It's very, very important this time of the year, especially with all the rain. So there is holes already in this one, but just to make sure yourself. So next thing to do then is to put some stone at the bottom. So when you're putting your stone in, that just stops for drainage as well. It just helps in the drainage. Now also as well, what I would use, you're using cyclamens, so you have the pots.
The pots,
Use them. And just squash them up a little bit.
Right.
And put them into it.
Give them another little bit of space.
Yes. And that's it.
Clever.
So that's another bit of space in there. And it just gets rid of your pots then as well.
Are they biodegradable? It'd be great if they were.
I'm afraid not.
No. Okay, so now here
what we're using then is a John Hines compost.
Multi-purpose compost.
So I'm just going to fill that up and make a big mess while I'm doing it. But anyway, so you just fill all that up.
Okay. So we're filling up to about a couple of inches from the top there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Break up any
lumps. Alan, you're getting the...
I'm getting the hang of this. You still wouldn't see one outside my house, though.
That's all right. And then also as well, we still use the slow release fertilizer, and it's great this time of the year because you just sprinkle it in. So I'm just giving it a little sprinkle.
Nice
now,
handful,
the reason why I put it down a little bit rather than the very top is that the roots will be going down, so the roots will hit it.
That's where it's going to hit them.
Yeah.
It's going to hit them right there.
So
we put another little bit of...
We're going to put more compost in now.
Okay.
Afraid that one will fall.
We'll get another break up that clump there again. Excellent. Right. And spread that out. Okay, so we're just a centimetre or two below the rim.
Now you also must firm it down because even you can imagine when it's wet it'll go down a bit further. So I'm just going to put another little bit. Right. So that's your pot then. Now what I'm going to put in the centre of it, I'm going to put the chrysanthemum.
It's a beautiful white.
So you're going to put a white chrysanthemum in the middle of it. So you just squeeze the pot and take it out of it.
Yeah.
Now usually the roots aren't too bad, but if they were very well matted, you just get your fingers just to loosen it out of it.
She's literally just kind of squeezing the plant a little bit there just to get the roots up. Okay, so the hand is going in about 6 inches down.
And so basically you want
the length of the pot.
Yes, you want to just bury the depth of it.
Okay.
Now, with a lot of the plants, you kind of keep them a little bit higher rather than lower this time of the year.
Okay.
So that they're not going to be completely waterlogged or anything like that. Completely. So again, just firm it then around.
Yeah. And
now, what we want then is just to get surroundings. So what I'm going to use then is your cyclamens.
Okay.
Now, actually, I should have used a bit of grit as well.
Okay.
So you just mix it into it a little bit.
Okay.
Especially for the cyclamens.
So that's the potting grit.
Potting grit
that you can get as well too, very easy.
So what I would do with that generally is mix it through all your compost when you're putting it in.
So when you're through the compost.
Through the compost, at the start.
Right.
But if you're like me and you do forget, you can just put in a handful at where the cyclamen is going. Yeah. Now, very important with the cyclamens is not to plant them too deep.
Yes.
Because if you look at the cyclamens down at the very bottom, you've got small little buds.
The buds are
so
right
if
there
if you plant it too deep, you're going to kill the buds and they won't flower.
All right.
So again, you keep them a little bit higher.
And you're going at a little bit of an angle as well.
Yeah, going at a little. I'm putting it at an angle because when you look at it, rather than having everything up straight like that, when you're walking towards the door, you can actually see the flower a little bit better.
So guys, anyone who's listening on radio, it's definitely one to check out on our YouTube and Facebook page just to see all the beautiful colour and the instructions that Trish is going through. So we're going to grab another
one. So again, you kind of want to match it.
Yeah.
So
make it look a bit structured, like you know what you're doing, Trish.
Yeah, that's it. Now you said it, Alan. And again, the pansy is always fantastic as well. Yeah, so again, squeeze the tray and it gets it up because otherwise you might pull the head off the pansy.
And should be no good then.
So you just put it like that.
Okay.
And put it in around it and firm it down.
Yeah.
And another thing we could put in then is your ivy. Okay. And you can see that straight away
then. Straight away, oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, it kind of covers a bit of the pot and it just makes it nicer. So again, if it's anything dry like that, just give it a bit of a water before you put it in so that the whole root system.
And that's just because it's been in here in the garden centre.
Exactly, that's all. Just to check your plants before you plant them. So you can see that it just actually softens it straight away.
Lovely.
And again, then I would put another ivy on the other side as well.
Okay.
And that should finish it.
Yeah.
Now, we also have bulbs in this time of the year, and it's great to plant in a few bulbs with your pots because you plant them, you forget about them, and then all of a sudden in the springtime you're going fantastic.
Because this is something that is going to take you over the winter.
Oh yes.
The spring.
Oh yeah.
So this is the whole idea.
So you want something to keep you going.
Yeah.
So what I would put in these now is a little dwarf bulb. So what I have here is the Dwarf Narcissise, and the variety of this is tete-a-tete. I find this excellent. It's really, really hardy.
Yeah.
There's also a tulip Red Riding Hood, which is a nice small little one as well, or small little crocuses, anything like that.
Oh, beautiful, yeah.
Now, with your bulb then as well, you get a pointy end to the top and your roots then at the bottom.
Okay.
Usually what they say when you're planting the bulb, you plant it down about 3 times its depth, 2 to 3 times its depth.
Okay.
Right? So in between your cyclamen and your pansy, just get your finger and go right down and just push it down. And then just cover it over with the soil.
Okay. Super.
So what I would do with that then is I just keep going around.
Yeah.
And even, you know, people are asking them, when that pansy grows, the bulb will force its way up through it. It'll come up through it.
Yeah. And because obviously you've got the grit and you've got the stones, it will be well drained pot. Which will make sure that the bulb doesn't rot.
Exactly, that's it. Yeah. So that'd be nice. I mean, I haven't done the back of it, but you just finish off the back of it and you can just give it a water, put it over the front door.
Fantastic.
And that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Another thing you could use in the centre would be your headers, sometimes what we did is put 3 headers in, 1 header, 2 header and 3 header.
Like a little triangle.
Like a little triangle, and then put your cyclamens in between, a little bit of ivy in your bulbs, and that's a nice fun pot then as well. So it doesn't have to be like a kind of a big centerpiece and then everything around. It could be a nice kind of even kind of layout. And you have to remember as well, now, I did this pot as if it's out a little bit, it'll be seen from all around.
Yes.
But say, for example, your pot is right up
the wall.
Up against the wall. I would actually move this back, right to the back.
Okay.
And then go forward, go down in a tier, and it's nice and colourful then around.
So for anyone listening on the radio, she meant the centrepiece would actually go right to the back of the pot, which meant that, you know, anything at the space, everything then will be seen. And
everything will be seen.
Everything in front of it.
Exactly. Now you said it, because there's no point having smaller plants at the back.
They won't see
up against the wall.
They'll be against the wall and they'll be lost.
Now, as for feeding and watering over the winter time, if it's under an eave, obviously the rain mightn't get it, so you just have to keep an eye on the watering. You just barely keep it moist.
Okay.
Don't have it saturated.
Yeah.
Feeding wise, there's no need.
Okay,
because
so
you've got your slow release fertilizer to do
exactly what all that's
There's no need like the summer ones going out every 2 weeks with tomato food or anything like that. There's no need for that. And again, it's just a matter of deadheading throughout the winter, and that's it. It's fine then.
Fantastic. And you basically you've instant colour right now.
You do.
And you will have lasting colour right up over the winter into the new rain. Until we're back again in the spring.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Now you said it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that is fantastic. And as I said, it's something that everyone could be a bit down about at the moment. Their colour may have taken a bit of a battering, and this could be the perfect solution just to give that little bit of a lift. As he said, there could be something missing without that summer colour.
Well, that's
so this beautiful autumn late colouring would do just the job. And I'm amazed at some of these buds are still going to keep bursting.
Sure, absolutely fabulous. And it's nice to have, like, when the evenings get a bit darker and duller and it might be raining more or whatever, it's just lovely to walk out your front door or look out your window. It's always important, your kitchen window. Put a little window box outside it. Every time you're at the kitchen window, then you just...
give you a little lift.
Exactly.
Give you a little lift. Excellent. Excellent. Well, that's brilliant, Trish. Listen, thanks so much for the fantastic colour suggestions, and hopefully this is going to give people an extra little lift themselves to get out into the garden and to do a little bit more and bring some colour into the garden. As always, Trish, thank you so much. Thank you for listening and for watching. Remember, you can always catch the shows on Facebook and on YouTube. And until next week, we will talk to you then. Happy gardening.